have a statement that you would like to read describing the impact of Joe's loss in your life?
I would, yes, thank you.
Please go ahead.
First, I'd like to say, I wish I could be present in court today, but for medical reasons, I have been unable to attend the trial. But in my stead, my sister, Grace Fischer Littner, is here and has been for the whole trial. And my cousin, Jan Gillis. So I thank them both for being here, for Joe and for myself. And I'd like to thank the Honorable Judge Penny S. Ascaratis and this courtroom for allowing me to give a victim statement today for my beloved son, Joseph Nathan Ryan. I would like to speak about the impact of losing Joe, his brutal murder, the trial, that the murder and cruel, false claim that Joe himself was a murderer. Most importantly, I want to speak about the type of man Joe was. When I had Joe, I was just 16. I did not have financial, legal, or physical ability to raise my son. Despite being discounted as his mother, I fought for the right to see him and prevailed as a loving part of his life. Joe became old enough by the age of 14 to pursue a closer relationship with me. He told me at one point I was the reason he learned how to love unconditionally. I spent holidays and vacations with Joe. He called me often. Our closeness spanned the rest of his lifetime. I was the last person he called the night before he was brutally murdered. He sent me a photo of himself that night. It was the last time I got to hear the word mom. I got a call about his murder 2 days after it occurred. As in life, in death, Joe was taken from me over and over again. The lead detective explained he had not been told I was Joe's mother. He was compassionate, and I would go on to include me, as he did, and the defense team in updates about the murder investigation and legal process. When he gave me the horrible news that my baby had been murdered, taken from me again, I let out a primal scream. I cried. From that night on, I have felt the deepest loss I could ever experience. My only child was gone, but the nightmares and pain were only just the beginning. Over these more than 3 years since Joe's murder, my life has been filled with continued loss and with emotional and medical and financial trauma. I have not been able to function normally. I have navigated a barrage of emergency room calls, doctor's appointments and hospital stays, and surgeries. I have spent a great deal of time not able to function or care for myself. at home, a direct result of the murder and devastating trial that ensued. I developed a heart condition and ulcers. Just last month, well, it would be a few more now, I had my toe amputated after not being able to fully grasp the pain that I needed to seek prompt medical care. That also means the medical bills piled up again, and working became nearly impossible. Would I have experienced such severe trauma without the brutal loss of Joe? Certainly not. When Joe was alive, he would fly or drive to care for me. And when I needed, and it included cancer twice, he was there. That brings me to the next thing I want to talk about. Who Joe really was. Brandon Banfield, his defense team, even some of the press carelessly characterized Joe as the intruder. The fetish guy into rough sex. The rapist and the murderer. Or simply the other forgettable guy. Not even showing Joe's face during the murder trial. Joe was chosen because Brendan Banfield thought he would make a good dupe to be framed for the planned murder of his wife. As with so many other things, Brendan was wrong. In some ways, my son was flawed, regular Joe. But he also had some amazing qualities. Joe was extremely caring. He lived with his grandmother and was dedicated to her health and her well-being. He moved to Florida to care for his parental grandfather, Pap, before he died from advanced dementia. He went for 2 months to care for a woman he loved who had radical hysterectomy, also taking care of her young daughter. That's part of who Joe was. Joe was a guy who believed in fighting for the underdog and even actual neglected dogs. He would walk into an animal shelter and ask for the oldest, ugliest dogs. Bring them home and love them for years. When Joe was murdered, he left behind a dog named Kitty, who waited for him at the top of the stairs. Joe also did things like gardening, feeding stray cats, teaching autistic kids to do jujitsu, and working at a homeless shelter. He believed that those with less should be fairly treated and supported, that Black and brown people should not be marginalized. Joe also was a feminist. He spoke out about the mistreatment of women during the start of the Me Too movement. Although he was chosen as a scapegoat from a website that is considered fetish, he was on that site to find a consenting partner because he believed in a woman's right to bodily autonomy and in her control over her romantic and sexual life. Joe wasn't just the disposable caricature, he was made out to be. He had a face, he had a name, he had a life. But Brendan Banfield shot his face, soiled his name, and treated his life as disposable. My son was a kind human being who had a full life of meaning. In contrast, Brendan will remain known as an abusive father, the brutal murderer of his dedicated and compassionate, beautiful wife, and a narcissistic killer of an innocent man. My son's legacy is one of selfless love, while Brandon's is one of senseless evil. I have never directly spoken to Brendan, and I won't today. To me, he's nothing more than what I just said. But Joe, yes, Joe, was someone to me. He was my baby boy, my biggest supporter, and the man I think was pretty special and never forgettable. Thank you so much for letting me say this out loud and share some of my love for Joe and the loss I felt I will always feel. He was part of me, and I will never get that back. But I will choose to live in his fighting spirit and with his voice in my head. Be kind to yourself, Mom. Take better care of yourself, Mom. Love you, Mom. I won't forget you, Joe. I hear you now. Thank you.
Thank you. Please answer any questions of Mr. Carroll.
Any cross-examination? All right. No cross-examination. Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Your next witness?
Thank you.